Thank you, Madison. Thank you all very much. Thank you all very much for coming out. And let me thank Linda, except that she gave about 3/4 of my speech. And I want to thank, I'm going to get back to the points that Linda made in a moment, but let me thank Mayor Paul Soglin, Space Raft, Solidarity Sing-Along Choir, former Lieutenant Governor Barbara Lawton, Best Coast, Benjamin Olnek Brown, Leisure Cruz, Shailene Woodley, Rosario Dawson, and Rosario's been doing a great job for us, many parts of the country, and Linda, again, Linda Sarsour. Your mayor, Mayor Soglin, and I have known each other for a long, long time, because I used to be the mayor of the city of Burlington, Vermont, and I think we had some contact way back then. I want to pick up on a point that Linda made, because it's maybe the most important point of the evening. And that is, if you accept the status quo, if you accept media's definition of what we can do and what we cannot do, I guarantee you, you will go no place, we will go no place as a country at all. Our job is to think outside of the box, to think outside of the status quo, to ask the hard questions, questions like, why not? And if we ask why not, and if we do not allow the Trumps of the world to divide us up, the truth is there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. And as I go around the country, I become increasingly optimistic about where we can be as a nation. I want to tell you why. A year ago, what I heard from all of the pundits and all the media and all the political geniuses, well, these young people, you know, they're not interested in politics. They're busy with their video games or whatever else they do. They're not going to get involved, you know, and maybe if they come to a rally, they're surely not going to vote. Well, you know what? Last many months have proven that thesis entirely wrong. So I go around the country. We see great people, and I see a lot of young people, and I see so much hope in their eyes. People who love this country, who know that they are the future of this country, and they damn well want to help determine that future. So one of the very gratifying aspects of this campaign is the fact that we are bringing millions of young people into the political process. We're redefining American democracy, and we should all be very proud of that. What this campaign is about is taking on status quo politics, status quo economics, status quo media. And it is about a campaign which is more than just electing a president of the United States, although I would very much appreciate your support. But it is more than that. It is about creating a political revolution. It is about the understanding that no president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can do it alone. Because the powers that control our political system today, the powers that control our economy today, have so much money and so much influence that no president alone can successfully take them on. We need millions of people, working people, middle class, young people, to stand up and say, enough is enough. We need, this is not a radical idea, we can do this. We need a government which represents all of us and not just wealthy campaign contributors. Now, here in Wisconsin, probably the easiest way to define a Bernie Sanders presidency and a Sanders administration is to tell you that it would be pretty much the exact opposite of a Scott Walker administration. Now, Scott Walker and I disagree on many, many things, and I'm going to talk about some of them, but I want to tell you where I viscerally disagree the most. I have conservative friends. We disagree. It's called democracy. That's fine. But I will not accept for 1 second Republican governors like Governor Walker and many others who are working overtime to suppress the vote. Now, democracy is not a complicated concept. Really is not. What it means is you have a vote, and you got to vote, and you got to vote. And you may want to vote for me, you may want to vote against me, that's fine. That's called democracy. Democracy, for a start, is not about billionaires buying elections. Democracy is not about governors like Governor Walker making it harder for people to participate in the political process. The United States today has one of the lowest voter turnouts of any major country on earth. Our job is to increase voter turnout, not lower voter turnout. Our job is to open the doors of democracy and welcome more and more people into the political process. Not to make it harder for poor people or young people or old people or people of color to participate. Now, I have run for office a whole lot of times in the state of Vermont. I've lost and I've won. But it has never occurred to me, not for 1 second, to say, how can I make it harder for people to vote who might be voting against me? Never occurred to me for 1 second. So I say to Governor Walker and to all of the other Republican governors who are trying to suppress the vote, that if you are not prepared to run and be involved in free and open elections, get out of politics, get another job. Now, in a democracy, people can disagree with everybody. That's part of the democratic process. But you cannot deny people the right to vote. That is un-American. And let me tell you, if elected president, we will take on Governor Walker and all of these other Republican governors. Our goal is, if you are 18 years of age and an American citizen, you have the right to vote. End of discussion. Governor Walker has spent much of his tenure attacking organized labor. We are going to reverse that as well. The middle class of this country was built on the backs of organized labor, people who struggled to form unions, to engage in collective bargaining, to make sure that workers in this country receive decent wages and decent benefits. Governor Walker wants to destroy trade unionism. I want trade unionism to grow and expand. And I will fight for legislation that makes it easier for workers to join unions and negotiate contracts. On a number of occasions, I have talked to teachers here in Wisconsin, and we thank them all very much for what they do for our kids. But I am also hearing some very, very sad and scary stories about the educational situation here in Wisconsin today. I am hearing, unbelievably, that teachers' salaries have been cut. I am hearing that young people are no longer interested in getting into education and being teachers. And that is certainly a sad, sad state of affairs, because if we do not have a great public education system, if we do not have the best and the brightest of our young people getting into education and teaching our kids, I worry very much about the future of this country. So Governor Walker wants to cut funding for education, and he wants to give tax breaks to large corporations. Well, my view is exactly the opposite. I want to make sure that large, profitable corporations in this country start paying their fair share of taxes so we can increase funding for education. Governor Walker has allowed his right-wing ideology to prevail and to deny some 120,000 people in Wisconsin options to get into Medicaid and maybe for the first time in their lives have health insurance. I think that that is a disgrace. As a result of that decision, there is no question that people will die. People will become much sicker than they otherwise would have become. We are the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people. In my view, not only should those 120,000 people here in Wisconsin have access to Medicaid, we have got to go further than that. Health care is a right of all people. And that is why we have got to